Ladies, gentlemen, loyal viewers of this channel, we are gathered here today to bid a fond farewell and a sad departure of what has become an essential family member of Team Blunty. I speak, of course, of this, which is the ASUS PB279Q 4K monitor, which has been on loan to me thanks to the very kind folk at ASUS ever since the Gigabyte GTX 980 Ti video card arrived on my desk for review. And when it arrived, I went, holy crap, I only have a 1080p monitor. This video card is designed for 4K. I have to be able to run 4K. So I popped an email across to the ASUS guys, which I had met more recently at an event, and said, hey, do you happen to have a 4K monitor I can borrow so I can actually run this video card in 4K and do the review properly and everything? And they hooked me up. And I got to thank those guys for that. It was fantastic of them. And they let me hang on to it for longer than I expected to, actually. And this has been an essential tool in reviewing a lot of video cards and stuff, running 4K stuff, and just personally being a beautiful thing to stare at while I get stuff and things done. And as this is ASUS super high-end pro-level monitor, as you'd expect, it's a deeply pleasant experience from every angle. The build and design is wonderful. The moving parts feel extremely beefy, smooth and industrially confident in their movement. It has audio in and out, which is always nice to have, and there's even some built-in speakers, which were, let's call them adequate, but of course not as lovely as proper dedicated speakers, but hey, they did come in handy, and I'll come back to those in a moment. You've got nothing less than 6 input options, 4 HDMI 1.4 ports, a DisplayPort 1.2 and a mini DisplayPort. But more than just being options to switch between, there's some additional trickery on offer here too. Firstly, it has a picture-in-picture mode, which is nice. Frankly, I didn't have much use for it, personally speaking, but still nice to have it there. The more practical option though comes with the other multi-input display options, like the side-by-side. And here is where those onboard speakers start coming in really handy, as while one window is probably for your PC, presumably you've already got your own speakers hooked up to your PC or headphones. So in this configuration, the inbuilt speakers can run the sound from your second source, like the Apple TV I'm using here to demo it with, and that saves a lot of faffing about with audio sources and speakers and amps and all that kind of stuff when you're doing something exactly like this. And it takes the onboard speakers from a feature I would almost never normally use on a monitor or TV or anything, to something suddenly nearly indispensable. And you can also go for a 3-way display in whichever arrangement you find more useful. And as you may have guessed by now, a full 4-input display is an option, of course. Not only that, but because a 4K resolution just happens to be 4 times a 1080p screen, yeah, you guessed it, each one of these displays in the 2-way, 3-way or 4-way arrangements all get full pixel for pixel 1080p resolution displayed. No scaling, no fuzziness, no silliness, just super crisp images. It's literally like having 4 1080p monitors stacked right next to each other, which is a neat trick. But of course the real joy came when all those pixels work on just one image at a time, specifically a game. Now, this particular model is not one of the gaming flavored variations that ASUS do, so there's no gaming focused technology like G-Sync for instance, and it caps out at a 60Hz refresh rate, not the 100 or 144 of some of their gaming models, but it does have a 5 millisecond grey to grey response time, and being designed for a media production environment means it has a stunningly good image. Full 100% sRGB coverage, 10-bit color, and 178-degree viewing angle on the IPS panel. Before this monitor landed on my desk, teamed up with the NVIDIA GTX 980 Ti Gigabyte Extreme Edition GPU, I don't think I've ever seen gaming look so amazing. And I had played in 4K before at press events and even Expo or two, but those brief experiences in crowded, noisy environments, usually with a well-meaning PR person hovering over my shoulder, they just didn't allow for the absorbing nature of true 4K gaming to really sink in a home environment where it's just me, the game, and all of those pixels. Hell, even pulling it back to 1440p was a significantly pleasant experience too. Now, I'm no pixel snob, but I'm pretty happy at 1080p still, and I don't think 4K gaming is very close to being truly mainstream, with the equipment required to run and display games like this still at a price tag that will make most people pause for serious consideration before pulling the trigger. But make no mistake, I have a brand new appreciation for 4K gaming and hunger for the higher resolution it offers. Basically, I finally just kind of get it. It's not just an EP measuring contest about who has the most brutally powerful system to be able to game in 4K. Gaming in 4K really can make a very enjoyable experience. It's not just a stunt. I mean, it doesn't make any given game any better or worse, of course, it just makes it more pleasant to look at for long gaming sessions. And alternatively, even if you want to stick with 1080p, a 4K screen opens up some other very useful options for me when it comes to my gaming time. For workflow kind of stuff, like this monitor has utterly changed the way I approach doing my Twitch streams, for example. Because what I do is I whack it into 1440p mode, and I've got the game playing in a window at 1080p, and I've still got loads of room around the outside of it for the Twitch chat and the OBS control panel and the VLC media player for the music in the background, and the alert systems and all that kind of stuff that I use, ancillary to the streaming, all that sort of support software. It's brilliant. This has also been one of the most comfortable monitors I have ever used. It is really easy on the eyes. It is extraordinarily crisp and vivid and wonderful. And of course, being able to do this and raise it up and lower it down and tilt it back and forth, so wherever I've got my seat situation or wherever I'm sitting on my desk, I can sort of, move this thing so it's at the correct sort of ergonomic eye level and everything, whereas opposed to the other monitor I've got, which is sitting over there, which it's a cheap POS, $150 thing that I picked up from Officeworks, just because I just needed a monitor one day, so I snatched it up. It's compared to this, it's just like, it makes my eyes cry, which eyes, that's one of the things they're designed to do. But yeah, I was going for a metaphor there. It makes my eyes wish they were looking at this. That was clumsy. And just so you don't think I'm gushing mindlessly about this awesome monitor that I was allowed to borrow, there is a thing I really, really didn't like about it. In fact, I almost hated it, I think. But the thing is, it's the same thing I don't like about almost every single monitor out there, regardless of price or brand or target market. For some reason, hiding non-labeled blank buttons under or even behind the bezel has become a thing monitor makers do, kind of habitually. Presumably it's to keep the front panel looking nice and clean and modern and not cluttered up with buttons and stuff. But what it does do is make using the menu system a complete pain in the ass, blindly groping behind your monitor for the tiny flush-mounted buttons, trying to feel your way along them, count how many along from the edge you are, trying to align them with the forever changing on-screen contextual icons. I hate it. Everyone I know hates it. I want it to stop. And I don't want to sound like an infomercial, but there has to be a better way. But anyway, I just wanted to put a sort of quick rambly video together to tell you all about, my long-term experience with this monitor. This isn't a sort of full-on review because, frankly, it's not a brand new model, and there are, more thorough reviews out there from people who do monitor reviews as a matter of course, and they've got all the proper testing equipment. I just wanted to tell you what it was like to live with this thing for a few months and sort of really soak it in. And it's just, like I said, it's changed my perspective on what I want to look at while I'm doing stuff and things, what I want to do when I'm gaming, what sort of resolution I want, what features I want, all that kind of stuff. It has been a fantastic experience, a privilege to have this thing sitting on my desk. And again, thank you to the ASUS people. It was extraordinarily lovely of you to let me borrow this one for as long as I did. It was extraordinary. I'm going to miss it terribly now that it has to go back because I have no current replacement for it, just that $150 monitor. So my 980 Ti is gonna feel foolish trying to drive that monitor, but that's the breaks. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and I will catch you next time.